Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now, Saturday, March 18th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, our Saturday guest, Kevin Beach, with us as well, ready to break down the Saturday NHL card. A huge slate on tap. Just before we get into that, briefly, a look back on last night. Impressive win for the Toronto Maple Leafs last night, 5-2 over the Carolina Hurricanes. Even with the goalie of the future in net, Pyotr Kochetkov, who I wasn't so sure he was going to be in net last night, but he was. But the Leafs were too good last night. Great job by them, both ends of the ice. A 60-minute effort, which you haven't always gotten from Toronto. Look at the Buffalo game earlier this week as an example. But, you know, the Colorado game they lost, they played well in defeat. And tonight last night they played well as also, but did get the result they were hoping for. Buffalo did not. What a horrible, horrible game for the Buffalo Sabres. And if they haven't recited the obituary yet on the Buffalo Sabres season, they're getting close, at least closer after last night. Wow, down 4-0, and obviously they end up losing 5-2. A miracle over cash, by the way, if you took over 6.5. A goal in the final seconds for Buffalo puts that game over the total. We also saw a 5-2 final score last night as well in the game between St. Louis and Washington. And look, Joel Hofer, very impressive for the Blues last night in that victory. And very impressive, too, after the bubbling emotional cauldron that was that St. Louis-Minnesota game where we got robbed of that goalie fight with Binnington versus Fleury. And it was I thought it would be a tough spot for the Blues to try to play well after a game like that was so intense, but they did. And Hofer was a big part of it. And a nice 5-2 win and a costly loss for Washington, who are right there trying to make the playoffs in the East. And then the late game, Columbus-Anaheim, which normally you'd think we wouldn't want to talk much about that, but it was a crazy game. It was back and forth. It was a very easy over 6.5 best bet winner for me on the show yesterday as goals went back and forth there. And we saw Anaheim pull it out, even though Columbus, didn't go away. I know Alex will mention it in a second. He was very much invested in the Anaheim Ducks last night, so he was very happy to see that based on some quote-unquote info that he received. But more than anything, I want to bring it up because that's why we were delayed starting. We were talking about shots on goal props and some of the controversies you're going to run into and some of the shit you got to deal with if you're going to bet these props. A friend of the show, DJ Mitchell, he's been on this show a few times. He's been on our betcasts before. He's been a guest on this show multiple times. And, he bets a lot of props. He's more of a DFS, even than a bettor, quite honestly. He focuses really on the fantasy stuff and props. He was about to cash a big parlay shots on goal prop last night. And one of the last leg that he needed to cash that parlay was Troy Terry for the Anaheim Ducks over 2.5 shots on goal. He had 2 shots. It looked clear as day with about 6 minutes to go in the third period that he had his third shot on goal off the blocker of Hutchinson. And it looked like it hit the blocker where it was aligned with just to the right around where the post was, the far post. It, to me, looked like a shot on goal, clear as day, and should have been his third shot on goal, but it was not registered that. He ended up with 2 shots on goal in the final box score for the game, and DJ Mitchell ends up losing a parlay that would have paid him out $1,000 because of that. And we were just talking off air. How can we fix this? How do we have technology that we can put in place to verify that every single puck does get on goal or doesn't get on goal and as a shot? How can we go about it? And if we don't introduce technology for it, like say in tennis or football or other sports, you just got to admit, if you're going to bet this stuff, you got to realize it's not going to go your way. There's going to be controversial shots on goal counts that go in your favor. And then unfortunately, there's going to be nights like last night for our friend DJ, where it's not going to go in your favor when it should. So it's just the nature of the beast, I guess, these days when you got to bet these player props, particularly shots on goal. Alex, we'll start with you. Crazy Friday night for a night that only had 3 games on tap, or 4, I should say.
4, yeah. Well, it's funny because if you watched this program yesterday, when we talked about that Columbus Anaheim game, you could probably tell by the tone of my voice I couldn't give a half a fuck about what was going to go happen in that game. And then all of a sudden, We get off the air. I go in my room and I grab my cell phone and I get a text message from a very close source of mine who got a text message from a very close source of his, basically saying to the effect, and I won't read out the entire tweet, but the Columbus Blue Jackets are kind of looking elsewhere in this weekend. If you look, they were playing in Anaheim last night. They have the day off today in Las Vegas before tomorrow afternoon's game against the Golden Knights. Well, I mean, you live in Ohio, you're having a bad season. Now all of a sudden you're in sunny California going to Las Vegas and you have a Saturday off, which most hockey players don't ever get a Saturday off. Am I right, Kevin? You guys are usually playing games on a Saturday. So, right?
You're right. Yeah. Saturday, usually your green light is like the Sunday night, Monday. That's kind of your weekend. So when you get a true Saturday, it's a treat for the boys for sure.
Right. So, you're out in Vegas. There's the March Madness going on. Nice sunshine. Might get out and get a couple holes in, play some golf. And, it just seemed like their heads weren't going to really be in the game. Now, that wasn't the case for the first 40 minutes. They actually played some good hockey because, of course, we're talking about two shitty teams, and Anaheim's not that great. Lukasz Dostal made some great saves, but then he, gave up a couple of soft goals as well, and they kept trading back and forth. But eventually, in due time, Anaheim pulled it out in regulation. Max Jones with the go-ahead goal that I almost nearly broke my hand celebrating. A couple more empty netters, and Anaheim wins 7-4 plus 120 in regulation. I was super happy, but really bummed to hear about DJ's story and missing that parlay. And we were talking, like I said, before the show, we're trying to think of ways to, maybe, figure out how they could tabulate, shots on goal properly, not just for the sake of obviously stat keeping, but now because you have bets tied to this, money tied to this, if you could have some kind of system where the books or, an independent, obviously you wouldn't want just a single book, but an independent betting integrity group or something of that nature, working with the NHL to count out all the shots at the end of the night before people get paid out, to make sure, because listen, this is the fastest game in the world, right? And shots, we're talking about, pucks going 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. The human eye can't catch every single thing when you're talking about something like this. It's easier to review a goal or an offsides call than it is to see, was that actually a shot? And even with the parameters that are listed, people can make mistakes with this. So it's something that needs to be double checked over. If it means some kind of technological advancement, lasers or what have you. I even kind of toyed the idea of maybe putting a GPS system in the puck to just kind of give you an area idea. But whatever it is, the NHL and the books and they all need to sit together and figure this out so this won't happen so often.
I agree. There's got to be some sort of way they can improve this with some kind of technology that you can build in. Put something that where it establishes the where the goalpost pegs are. You just establish that area, the area in between the two goal post pegs, and the area if the puck hits on target in that area. Some technology to determine that and decipher that. You would think they can put that in. It's again not going to ever show up on television because the person at home that's just cheering on his team and watching the game, it's not betting. They don't give two shits about whether a shot on goal was on goal or not, probably. But it's just for the NHL in the where they keep track of this stuff and all the stats for each game, that they could record honestly and accurately what the shots on goal numbers are.
And one quick thing too before we get to you, Kevin, with that game last night, because I hadn't watched Anaheim broadcast in quite some time for good reason. Did anybody else know? I didn't know that there's the puck trail is kind of back for certain things like the power play. Every Ducks
I know.
play,
The
old Fox track thing was like kind of back.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was much smoother.
In the 90s.
Well, no, actually, this is the thing. It was actually much smoother watching that than it was watching Fox 25 years ago. Yeah. And they had the little nameplate that kind of reminded me of.
Improved.
Yeah. Reminded me with the video games where they had the nameplate.
I still don't like it, honestly, though.
I don't need that, but it was done, I think, in a way that like I wouldn't complain about it. Like, yeah, if I had the option, I would take that off. But I think more people would benefit from that. And I think they've it seems like they may have, I won't say perfected, but they've certainly improved that from where it started from. So I thought that was interesting. And, like I said, I wouldn't mind that too much. It wouldn't piss me off if it happened in the playoffs. But I think that may be something that, if they clean it up a little bit more, that might be something they could really kind of throw into some of these national broadcasts and actually be really helpful for people who are new to the game.
I have seen them because it's on the Bally Sports broadcasts for the NHL games,
which will be
regionally.
gone next year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So, but and they have cleaned it up from the Fox Track days in the 90s, which was a disaster. And you saw the red laser every time there was a shot on. It was horrible. It was awful. And I don't love it, but at least they cleaned it up and made it a little better. Kevin, we only get to see you and talk to you once a week on Saturdays, so I'll just let you have the floor. Whatever you want to talk about, last night's games, shit you went through with NHL, viewing, betting during the week, whatever you want to talk about, Kevin, floor's yours.
Yeah, I was going to joke about if they're bringing back the Fox puck there, but seems like they're already onto it there, as you mentioned. Yeah, we kind of just got in a debate on the review of the shots or whether you could do it with technology. I'm not a laser expert, but my opinion is that it's not like tennis where it's just hitting one spot and it's black or white. The shots are coming from all different angles from the side. The goalie's in different placement. So the puck's never actually making it to the net where there was one true spot. I agree if it's like a GPS system where it reads where it's coming from, where it's going, and it knows the angle, then that's a possibility. Definitely it's pretty complicated, but then you also have to deal with figuring out what was a pass and what was a shot. So they're gonna have to manually go through that. So they would have to still have some manual work to figure that out.
yeah.
But yeah, we were debating that probably. We got delayed a good 15, 20 minutes just we kind of got on that. But yeah, and again, I don't know the actual review process they have at the end of the game, because I have seen games where a shot's been added at the end or a shot's been removed. So it's hard to comment on that, but for sure there has to be, to lose a big parlay like that on what you guys said looked like a pretty clear shot. It's a pretty tough way to lose out. I lost out on one before with a shot in the last minute where it was going half a foot wide, and I was hoping for the benefit of the doubt just to get the shot, and the shot counter was actually pretty good and counted it true where it was going to miss the net. But there definitely has to be a review process at the end of the game for sure. Props are becoming such a big part of sports betting for sure that it's got to be done right. So I feel there for the guy who lost that on a clear shot. For me, the games last night, I was just that Buffalo one saved me on. I had a team goals, Buffalo 2 and over, so that last second goal kind of saved me there. And then St. Louis was an interesting one. I was curious if they were kind of tired of Binnington and his antics, and they were going to play well for whoever was in net for them other than him. So they did kind of come back strong, but that was a curious one for me that I was waiting to see, and they were able to pull out that win.
Yeah, and it's just one last point about the shots on goal. Then we'll get to today's card, but it's not just that getting it accurate, getting it right, and making sure it's also, I'm sure there are certain arenas, maybe certain venues, and certain people that are in charge of getting the shots on goal and the stats correct in each venue that maybe would have counted that as a third shot for Troy Terry. So person to person, crew member to crew member, venue to venue, it might have been different. Maybe if that game's played in New York, it's a third shot for Troy Terry. They register it. Who the hell knows? I mean, it's possible.
That's what I was saying earlier. The comparison with baseball, that's been notorious for years. Every ballpark scorekeeper registers things differently, and players would always talk about how they got more hits or had less errors in this ballpark or that ballpark. So that's why there needs to be some kind of an overview, and probably in all sports there should be some group that is independent, really from the leagues and the books, that is doing clear third party stat verification for betting purposes. I think that if they don't have that in place, or if they do have it in place, it needs to be tightened up. If it's not in place, it needs to be in place.
Yeah, I saw the game was in Anaheim there, so I know it's not a true hockey market. I didn't really want to say that because I'm sure the NHL has their process of training their guys, and so that it's supposed to be the same in every market. But just human nature, it's a judgment call. Every time it's headed towards the net, it's a judgment call for that person. And for sure, there's going to be some rinks where that person errs on the side of it being a shot on net, and there's going to be people that err on the side of it being outside. It's impossible to have every market the same when it's, different individuals in each spot, unless there's a third party that comes through and analyzes all the shots at the end, and it's going to be pretty hard to make it exactly consistent.
And of course, the only team that would benefit from having that laser technology would be, of course, the Calgary Sternums, who basically shoot the puck right down the middle, right into the chest of the goalie every single time.
Yeah, if you haven't been with us, Kevin, since
those shots will be registered on the lasers for sure.
We invented that on Tuesday night during the Betcast. I did. It's not the Calgary Flames anymore. It's the Calgary fucking Sternums. Okay, because that's the only place they shoot the puck, in the sternum of the opposing goalie, right in the chest. That's about it. Although I give them credit. Right after I gave them that name, they scored 7 against Vegas the other night. So maybe
they've been finding some 5 and 6 holes lately. Pretty good. So
yeah. Calgary. They might turn into the Calgary Sternums though again tonight. I got to see more evidence. They could put a 7 spot on the board more frequently than just that one game, obviously against Vegas, and a bad spot for Vegas too. Let's keep that in mind. All right, here we go, guys. Huge slate, 13 games. For the sake of time, I'm going to try to speed up the pace here. That's never easy for me, but we're going to do our best. Colorado and Detroit, we'll start there. This game starts in about half an hour. Colorado minus 190, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. I have a small play on over 6 here, just because of the history. We've seen some overs repeatedly between these two teams. Avalanche in an early start game, a very successful road trip. I'd probably pump the brakes a little bit here with the Avalanche's significant road favorites in this spot. I mean, they've had a nice road trip. I'm pretty sure after this, they end up going back to Denver. Yes, they're hosting Chicago on Monday after this. So they've already had a good road trip, beating Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa. But you're right, they're a little bit banged up right now. That is something to keep in mind. You've got injuries to Arturi Lehkonen, who's the big one that just happened earlier this week in the Montreal game. You still have Josh Manson, Eric Johnson out on the blue line, Curtis McDermott as well for this game. So a little shorthanded. End of a long, successful road trip. Sometimes you don't always get the best effort. Alexander Georgiev in net, he has been very strong of late, particularly on this trip. Billy Husso confirmed in net for Detroit. Now, they have some defensemen out, too. That's another reason why I think this game can go over the total. Ben Sherratt's out. He's been one of their better stay-at-home defensemen this year. Keep in mind for Detroit, too, the person that's taken his spot is Dennis Edvinson. This is one of their high-up prospects in the organization, and they think very highly of this kid. He's performed very well down in the minors this year for the Detroit Red Wings. So he's going to end up getting not only the call up from the AHL, but he is going to be in the lineup. Simon, not Dennis, I should say. Simon Edvinson for the Detroit Red Wings here in this one. 6th overall pick back in 2020. 5 goals, 27 points in 51 American Hockey League games this year for him. So interesting to see how he fares in this game. Detroit's been spunky at home too. Let's not forget that. They beat Boston last weekend in an early start game, a very good Bruins team. So I don't have enough confidence in Detroit to pull the trigger, but man, tempted, believe it or not, with Detroit. I don't think it's a great spot for Colorado, but I do like this over. Alex, what do you think? Avs, Red Wings?
I'll probably be dabbling this live while we're here for the next 45 minutes to an hour. But this definitely feels like it could be a good over game. And I'm seeing some 6.5. So definitely shop around. If you like a 6, grab it now. You could wait in game and get that down to a 5.5 at a cheaper number. But if you see 6.5, definitely wait. 6, it could go either way. As far as you can grab it now, or I think you could probably wait a little bit in game. It's situational. I'm going to be here, so I'll wait and grab a 5.5. If I was out and about, I'd grab a 6 because I'm not having time to live bet. So that's the way I kind of look at that. But I do like over. Like I said, it's not the best of spots, and I could definitely see goals both ways. Detroit, I think they're a little bit more used to playing these earlier daytime starts. Colorado, when they do have day games, they're kind of like mid-afternoon or evening. So I think that could have a little bit of a feel. Maybe Detroit jumps out early, and then Colorado can bounce back. So I think it's a great live game.
Yeah. A couple prop notes that I want to mention here for this game. And again, we're going to try our best to really fly through it. We have 13 games, but it's worth noting Mo Seider, 8 of his last 10 games over shots on goal. Big Val Nichushkin points in 7 of the last 10. McKinnon's been an overshot machine, 7 of the last 10. Larkin the same. Kubalik lately has been shooting the puck a lot. Nate McKinnon, 7 of the last 10. He scores a goal for the Avalanche, I mean, you never get great prices with McKinnon to score, but especially with Lehkonen out now, probably a goal prop. Goal prop for Mikko is probably good. You're right. McKinnon and Mikko goal prop parlay makes sense because Mikko's certainly been good. I like Mikko over shots too. Mikko Rantanen here for the Colorado Avalanche in this early game. Rodriguez is worth a look because he's getting more opportunity now with Lehkonen out, at least to get a point, at the very least. Rodriguez for the Avalanche. Dennis Mulligan, if you want to sprinkle, he's had a bunch of chances lately to get a point or a goal with Mulligan makes sense. So a few props I do like here. I know our next guest, our next contributor here likes some props. Kevin, what do you think here, Colorado, Detroit?
I do like some props in this one. You mentioned two guys, Larkin. He's buzzing again, 5 straight. He's over that 2.5 shots. I like that one. Moritz Seider, a guy who I've usually been playing the under most of the year on shots and points, is finally starting to heat up. So like you mentioned, 8 of the last 10, he's finally 2 or over. So it's the first time all year I think I like Moritz Seider on the over. So 1.5. He's finally shooting the puck lately. And then Cale Makar, anytime that number gets bumped up to 3.5 on his shots line, I'm playing under on him. He's 7 of his last 10. He's under. The price is minus 167, but there's still value in that for me with how often he's under that number. So once in a while he pops off. Last Saturday he did burn me popping off, but the odds are there's still value for me to play the under on Makar. Then the Avs, I like the Avs in general. Don't love the price on the money line, but I'm going to take Avs 3 or more team goals, and that's minus 159. I like them to at least score 3 and hopefully get the 4 there.
All right, there you go. So that's 3 or more. So again, that's over 2.5 or 3 or more, depending on what your book offers. Again, Kevin is willing to lay the juice, so keep that in mind. So again, the standard team total is 3.5, but he's willing to lay the extra juice, minus 159, to get that 3+ goals on the Colorado team total. All right, next up, we've got Winnipeg and Nashville, an afternoon game in Kevin's backyard there, Music City, 1 p.m. local. Winnipeg, Nashville, Jets minus 140, road favorites, 5.5 the total. I'm going to, I didn't say begrudgingly. You should never say you're begrudgingly making a bet, but I am going to take Winnipeg here. I'm going to lay the $140 on the road. This team sounded pissed, sounded absolutely pissed after the Boston game the other night. They didn't sound happy at all with their performance. They said we should have been a whole lot better than that. You can't start a game that way. I think they want to bounce back. They know that they're feeling the heat right now because, look, Calgary ain't going away. They're right behind the Jets. It's a huge game for Nashville, and there's no question if Nashville has any inclination, of trying to get back into the playoff race, they need to win this game, and they probably need to win in regulation, and keep Winnipeg from getting any points. I would say if you like Nashville, which I don't, but if you do like them, not just plus 120, but take the regulation price. Just try to sweeten the pot because I think they've got to go all out to try to win in regulation, keep the Jets from getting any points in this hockey game. But, to me in this matchup here, I still think Winnipeg's better. You look at this game here against the Predators, Winnipeg with Hellebuck likely in net. They are, of course, still missing with Sam Gagner out, Pierre-Luc Dubois, upper body injury. He is on the road trip for the Jets. He's missed the last 5 games with this injury, but Rick Bowness said there's a potential he could make his return this afternoon in Nashville. A lot of injuries, of course, for Nashville, and it's getting worse for them. Forsberg, we know, is on IR. Johansson's out for the year. And to make matters worse now, their defense now is a little bit weaker after the trade deadline, but now Ryan McDonough, upper body injury, has missed the last 2 games and may miss yet again here this afternoon for Nashville. A little bit shorthanded right now as far as the blue line's concerned. I like what I'm hearing out of Winnipeg come after that bad showing against Boston at home. And plus, I think the Bruins were finally hell-bent on breaking their little slide that they had. So I'm going to go with Winnipeg here. I don't hate a Winnipeg first period either to maybe come out strong, but I'm going to go with the minus 140. No regulation line, just going straight money line because I could see a 1-goal victory for Winnipeg. That's very plausible, but Jets minus 140 for me. And the prop that I really like, I like Kyle Connor over shots and maybe to score a goal. He really plays well against Nashville for some reason. He's got a good track record against this team. And obviously, Nino Niederreiter, it goes without saying. He's red hot. He's scoring goals. He's collecting points since he's been a member of the Jets. And, oh, yeah, former team. Another one of his former teams he's playing here. The team that just got rid of him, essentially. You don't think that's going to put a chip on his shoulder this afternoon, playing his old team? So, yeah, everything Nino Niederreiter, slam it. Goal, point, shots, everything. What do you think here, Alex? Jets, Preds?
Yeah, I'm going with that Winnipeg first period puck line. Late in the half, go at plus 160, like you said. I think they could come out with some energy and effort, but it's hard for them to put together 60 minutes strong at times. And Nashville, the team, it's kind of a fade too. Like I said, if Winnipeg was playing a little bit better, I would just be on them full game, because Nashville, the team, I think has really just kind of fallen out of favor at this point. Like I said, I think they're playing themselves out of the string. So I like Winnipeg here, but I'm just going to play it safe, go with the first period puck line, just hope that they can get out of the first 20 minutes with the lead.
All right, so Alex going the puck line route in the first period with the Winnipeg Jets, which is plus 172, by the way, at Pinnacle, if you like that puck line. So I probably have to sprinkle on it a little bit myself as well, just because of the price you're getting. Plus 172 for the Jets to win the first period in this game. Kevin, what do you think here, Jets and Predators?
Yeah, Ian, I knew you'd be all over that Nino Niederreiter bet there. Yeah, since being on that team, 6 of 8, he's hit 3 or more. He's playing his old team, a little more motivation, and it's plus money. But the line's been moving since I looked at it this morning. So this morning when I looked at it, it was plus 135, very, very juicy. Almost within an hour, it moved to plus 120. So they're adjusting it. I think a lot of money coming in on that Nino Niederreiter over 2.5. But I jumped on that as well. I knew you were going to be all over that for sure. There are 2 guys I like are Cody Glass and Thomas Novak. They're both playing that top line, playing a lot of minutes for the Preds right now. Yep. Their line is only 1.5 on shots. So you got to pay a little bit to get them. Minus 167 for Glass and minus 155 for Novak. But the way they're playing with how much ice time they have, and they're up to responsibility in crucial situations of power play. Those are 2 guys going to play the over 1.5. And the other guy I'm on is Tyson Barrie. They've moved his line now. It was a very hittable line of 1.5 when he first came over the Preds, and he was hitting that. They now bumped it up to 2.5, which I do not like for him under this placement with the Predators on that second power play unit. 6 of his last 8, he's been under that number with the Preds. It is minus 200, but he's been under that number pretty consistently. So I'm playing under Tyson Barrie 2.5. And lastly, I like the game total under 6. So it's 5.5. I'm going to pull it to 6. A bit of a cop out, but I'm going to pay a little bit extra, minus 141, and play that under. It's 2 teams that are not scoring goals right now. Preds are only winning games if it's 2-1 with pure defense. And the Jets offense hasn't been that great either. So I'm playing the under on this game.
Yeah, this is no accident. This total's 5.5. And it was such an important 2 points on the line. Yeah, definitely. And we expect Hellebuck and Saros to be the goalies here today. And obviously they're very capable. When they're on their game, it's not always easy to see the puck go in. So we'll see if this game ends up taking on that playoff feel to it. There's definitely a decent possibility it could be that way. Yeah, 8 of the last 10 games, by the way, it is for Nino Niederreiter in the point department. But no doubt he has been good. You're right about Novak, Kevin. 4 straight games with a point for him. So I would go with Novak on the Nashville side. We've talked about Novak quite a bit. He has been that noticeable offensive production machine lately for the Predators, and even more so now with who's out. It's Forsberg, Johansson, among others. Novak is getting greater ice time, greater opportunities. So definitely liking his prop as well in this game for Thomas Novak. All right, another afternoon affair. Now we go from Kevin's current place of residence to Alex's current place of residence. Minnesota, St. Paul, Boston, and Minnesota. Bruins minus 160. Road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Boston, obviously, we talked about how it's a little dubious now to bet them day in and day out, big prices and not a lot at stake. They're going to clinch everything that they need, first in the division, first in the East, President's Trophy. These aren't going to be games with a whole lot on the line for the Bruins. Meanwhile, you got Minnesota in a hotly contested Central Division battle. They can still, catch Dallas right now for first in the Central Division. Alex can speak more on this. He's right there on the scene. It sure seems like Minnesota wants this division title, and why not? It's there for the taking. You're right there. You're right on Dallas's heels. I mean, why not go for it? And they're playing the kind of hockey that, believe it or not, can have success at playoff time. Good defensive hockey. Getting solid goaltending from the Gustafsson and the Fleury duo. Fleury's been a lot better lately for the Minnesota Wild as well. We do expect, though, it'll be Philip Gustafsson. It is confirmed Philip Gustafsson in net this afternoon for the Minnesota Wild. Projecting to be Linus Ullmark for Boston. It is confirmed now, actually, Linus Ullmark for Boston. So it is the goalie matchup we expect. I certainly lean under. This is another one where, just like the Winnipeg-Nashville game, it's 5.5 for a reason. When you start to see totals at 5.5, you start to realize, hey, they're 5.5 for a reason. And I find 5.5s more often than not, those totals are staying under. You sometimes be tempted and goaded into taking the over when you see a 5.5, but I wouldn't be in this game. I think it's going to be pretty tight, pretty good goaltending, both sides, good defensive battle. We do have some injuries on both sides. It's Foligno, Hall, and now Derek Forbort out for the Bruins on the blue line. But the good news is they've got depth for days, on the back end, Boston. So that's the good news for them. For Minnesota, Foligno, Kaprizov, of course. But now you've got Brodin still on IR, Middleton out for them. And so that's also someone that's played pretty good in his own end for the Minnesota Wild this season. So definite concerns right now in terms of, their ability on the back end to hold up depth-wise moving forward. But, in this matchup, I don't know if this is the greatest price to say, yeah, let's fade Boston, but I do have the classic underdog split bet here with Minnesota draw. So a little, a bit on Minnesota plus 140 and a little on the draw here with the Bruins and the Wild in this game. And the draws, again, a very good price, plus 334. You can find at Pinnacle with that. So that's the way I played it, and I certainly lean under as well. Alex, what do you think? Bruins, Wild.
This is a draw game, and this is a great live game as well. And honestly, if you like either side, I would probably say wait in game, and you can grab either one at plus price. I think this is going to go back and forth. I like this over, but 5.5, I'm actually going to get a little greedy. I'm going to wait and grab this at plus money. I'm going to grab it hopefully plus 115 or plus 120. And this is interesting because we've seen this kind of a spot before with Minnesota. Coming off of a 4-game trip out west to play against a top-tier team. And that team, when I look back with the Edmonton Oilers back in December, they also were one of 2 teams that did not stay close to St. Paul. Now, I don't know if that means anything. That's just one of the wrinkles that just kind of happened to pan out in these 2 scenarios. But in that game with Edmonton and Minnesota, it was an odd start time. It was a very late TNT game. Edmonton never got their footing right. Minnesota kind of controlled the pace. It was a 2-1 game that Minnesota won. So it ended up being low scoring because that's how Minnesota was playing at that time. Boston draws teams into offensive battles at times, especially if they get things rolling and they get the first goal. Minnesota does have the horses to compete and kind of keep afloat. Obviously, with no Kaprizov, they can't get into an absolute barn burner of a track meet. But with both teams having issues and injuries on the blue line, I do think we see goals. I think this goes back and forth, and I think it goes past 60 minutes. So give me the draw. I'll take the over 5.5 for show purposes, but I say wait, and should be able to grab a bigger plus price in game, and definitely be looking for some next to score props. Like I said, if you like Boston, wait. They should be trailing at some point. You can grab them at plus price. Minnesota already a dog. Grab them now.
Yep, you did hit on that one thing that would concern me if I were to be on the under in this game. And you're right, cluster injuries on the blue line, cluster absences on the blue line. Oftentimes when I see that, I'm looking over the total because you got new D pairs, you got communication is such a big part of playing good team defense in the NHL, and all of a sudden you got new partners to work with, and you got guys playing more minutes and against better players on the other side they got to play against because of injuries. They got to step up and play more minutes, and against better players, sometimes it's not an easy adjustment and it leads to more goals. So that's the one caveat about this game. Everything else screams under, but that's the one thing that does maybe point to the over is the issues we've got, not only for the Wild blue line, but, Bruins do have a little bit of a couple guys banged up on their blue line as well. What do you think here, Kevin? Boston, Minnesota.
Yeah, I actually the price I found for Boston on my book here is minus 152 on the money line. I'm comfortable playing that. I think they're the better team. Minnesota has been playing pretty well lately. But I look at their last 7 games. I look at their schedule. Like, the best team they played in the last 7 games is Winnipeg. They played Calgary a couple times, but then they got Vancouver, San Jose, the Coyotes, St. Louis Blues. So they haven't played a top-tier team.
That's a
here.
sisters of the poor schedule. I will admit that for them. Yeah,
It's
doubt.
been a couple weeks since they've played a top-tier team here, and now you got the Boston Bruins coming in here. So it's going to be a big change of pace for them here. With Kaprizov out, I just don't know if they can stay in the game offensively. So for me, that Boston minus 152 money line, I don't mind that at all. So I'm playing that. A few props I like. Bergeron, they've dropped his prop line to 2.5. For the longest time, I've seen that at 3.5 the last couple seasons. So seeing that at 2.5, I'm going to jump on that. 8 of the last 10, he's hit it. It's minus 182, but yeah, I see a lot of value in that. McAvoy, a little better price, minus 130 to hit 2 shots or over. 7 of the last 10, he's hit that. And then Hartman for the Wild. He's had a little bump up here with Kaprizov being out. His power play time's gone up. 7 of the last 10, he's been over that 2.5, and pretty decent payout, minus 118. So those are my props, and I like Boston on the money line here.
All right, there we go. Good stuff indeed. So
you
look at this
too.
Yeah,
Ian, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but one quick thing too. Minnesota, very high scoring home games in these daytime starts. Boston play a lot of day games, so that's another thing I wanted to mention when we talk about that over.
Yeah, definitely. I think that. So keep that. Yeah, I noticed that too. You're right. They've played a lot of higher scoring games. We'll see. And it's right. That's why it's a clash of over thought process versus under thought process for me in this game. I agree with the Hartman prop that to get a point. I've been on the Ryan Hartman to get a point prop a lot as well. I'm on that today, and the over shots on goal for the Bruins. You're actually getting some better prices with their player props because they expect this to be a little bit of a lower scoring game. Obviously. Pavel Zacha, Dmitry Orlov, to me, I think are good value. I mean, he's been collecting the points from the blue line for Boston, playing power play, and Zacha, as Jimmy Murphy pointed out too on Twitter, he has been undervalued for a long time. So those are some props that I'm liking here as well. All right, Edmonton and Seattle. We've got the Oilers and Kraken. Oilers minus 130, road favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. Seattle, man, I'm starting to worry. I mean, that game, while they did beat San Jose, but man, it was way more difficult than it probably should have been, as they ended up winning 2-1 in overtime over the San Jose Sharks. But it was still a win they desperately needed. They got it. Does that give them confidence back home here against the Edmonton Oilers? I don't really feel strong about either side. I mean, Edmonton's playing well. It was a very good win for them against Dallas. Skinner was very good in net. The defense has improved since they got Matthias Ekholm. We certainly know how dangerous they are up front. So like what I'm seeing from the Oilers, they do have some injuries. Ryan McLeod out for them for this game. And, he's an effective depth center for this team. He's already ruled out, didn't even travel with the team. Day-to-day for Zach Hyman. He's missed the last 2 games. He was in practice. The fact that he practiced probably gives him a better shot to maybe return and be in the lineup tonight, or this afternoon rather, for the Oilers. Let's see who's in net for these 2 teams. I expect Grubauer for Seattle, Skinner for Edmonton. I don't think there's any reason to expect anything different. I mean, Edmonton is definitely in better form. I lean to the Oilers here, but for some reason I haven't bet it. For Seattle, it's an opportunity for them to build on a win they desperately needed, but they got to show they can do it against a good team. I certainly lean Edmonton, but I don't know. Something about it is going to keep me off. I do like the over. I think I will get in on that 6.5 here in this one. I'm just waiting to see who's in net, but I still lean over 6.5 simply based on the series history with these two teams. If you look at Edmonton versus Seattle, as of late, it's been a very high-scoring series history. In fact, since Seattle's been in the league, 5-0-1 to the over. And the scores in those games were 5-2, 4-3, 5-3, 7-2, 5-2, 5-2. Every game getting to 7 goals. Every single Edmonton-Seattle head-to-head game since the Kraken have joined the league has gone over the total and at least 7 goals. So it's hard to ignore that. What do you think here, Alex? Oilers Kraken.
Yep, I'm going over, but I'm waiting for a better pricing game. Just hoping to grab it minus $1.10 or plus money. But like I said, this is just good. Feels like it's going to have track meet written all over it. In Seattle, I think at some point they're going to have to say, we just have to play fire wagon hockey. I think that's really going to be their only way to kind of get back into the form that they were in. Even though they were getting the great goaltending from Jones, we know that's not going to be coming back anytime super soon. Grubauer has been playing a little bit better, but they have to get that offense rolling back. That was a lethal offense that we're talking about in November and December, parts of January, and that's kind of been a bit unstable. If they can get that rolling with an Edmonton team that we know it seems like all their games are track meets now too. They've kind of regressed back almost to where they were, it seems like a year ago, in my mind. I think we just get goals back and forth. I don't even want to deal with the side. Just take the over.
Little pricey. I mean, I'm seeing minus 160 now, but I don't care. We're back on it. Vince Dunn to get a point. He's been it's been insane, this point streak for Vince Dunn for the Seattle Kraken. It's now reached 11 games, I believe. Yeah, 11 straight games with a point for Vince Dunn. Vince Dunn shots on goal. That's cashed in 4 straight games as well. I mean, definitely a good prop game. McDavid and Nugent Hopkins are on point streaks, 3 straight games with a goal for Connor McDavid. Like I said, Dunn on this 11-game point streak. Also 8 of the last 10 games done with an assist. So sprinkle on that prop too. Jared McCann props over 2.5 shots. He's averaging over 4 in the last 10 games. 7 of the last 10, he's gone over 2.5 shots to get a point with Jared McCann as well. Bjorkstrand, even for Seattle, 7 of the last 10, he's gone over 2.5 shots. So that might be a decent shots on goal prop look here as well. What do you think in this one, Kevin? Edmonton, Seattle?
Yeah, you're reading off a couple of my notes here, Ian. Vince Dunn, a guy who's having a heck of a season. He's carrying my one fantasy team right now. But a guy who was not shooting the puck a lot this season, and has finally started shooting the puck, and he's just playing a ton of minutes right now. Just on the ice, 25 minutes a game, just playing a ton. As you mentioned, 7 of the last 10, he's hit that over. 5 of the last 6. So I now like him on that over because he's finally shooting the puck, and he's playing enough where he's going to get those shots on net. Bjorkstrand, as you mentioned, has not really had the best season, other than like the first few weeks of the season where he was hitting that over pretty consistently. Since then, his usage just was not that great. He's finally getting in the mix of things. They're using him more. So 4 of the last 5, he's hit that over on shots. And pretty decent payout. It's minus 125 to hit over 2.5. 7 of the last 10, he's hit it. Like, I see value in there. He's starting to feel good about life. He's getting used more. So I'm on the over for Bjorkstrand as well. My other 2 prop plays, Darnell Nurse under 2.5. You do have to pay a little bit, minus 200. But 6 of the last 7, he's been under, and he's not getting much power play time right now. They're really riding that first unit with Bouchard there. So Nurse has not really seen those power play minutes where he's going to get the puck on net. So I'm under Nurse 2.5 on shots. And Evander Kane, anytime I see that line at 2.5 and not 3.5 for him, it's going to spark my interest. 2 of the last 4, he's been over since the injury, but those first 2 games back, he didn't play any power play time. So they're just kind of easing him back in. Last 2 games, he's been back heavy power play minutes. So I like his price, minus 143 at 2.5. I like that all day long. Very, very comfortable playing that. And then I like Edmonton on the money line, minus 139. You got a little better price here posted, minus 130, even better. Just the form they're in, and Seattle kind of been a little up and down lately. And then I also like Edmonton over 3 team goals, minus 167.
There you go. I mean, I think of all the weeks Kevin's been with us, I don't know if he's given out more plays and more bets in one game than he just did right there with Edmonton and Seattle. That's good stuff. That's Ian
Like
Cameron type of volume. I'd be proud. I'm proud of you, my friend.
Yeah.
You've arrived. You've arrived at my level.
Getting there.
That's the kind of volume I'm proud of. That's a lot of bets. I like it. All right, next up, we've got Carolina and Philadelphia. Next up, Hurricanes -215, road favorites, 6 the total in this one. Both teams played last night. Carolina, we know the better team. And if you actually look, too, not just better team, but if you look at the back-to-back records this year for these two teams, it's night and day. Carolina on a second of back-to-back games, one of the better teams in the league on a back-to-back, 7-3 this year, including 3-1 off a loss on the second of back-to-back games. Philadelphia, how about 2-10 on the second of back-to-back games this year, 0-4 when they're off a win the previous night on the second night of back-to-back games. So clearly off the win against Buffalo. Does anyone believe that's going to spur a spark here for the Flyers and a win streak? I'm not convinced of it. Carolina, I think after losing in Toronto last night, chomping at the bit to get back on the board. I think they will here in this game against the Flyers. We saw Carter Hart last night for Philly, and we saw Kochetkov for Carolina. I would expect Sandstrom-Anderson to be the goaltending matchup here. Sandstrom, the backup right now to Hart for Philly, and of course Freddie Anderson, who is likely going to get the nod here for the Carolina Hurricanes in this game. And it is worth noting, Carolina's dominated 6 straight wins over Philadelphia. I'm going to double up here. Carolina first period puck line and in regulation for me in this game. Carolina puck line, a pretty decent price here in this one. It's around -0.5 plus 135 with that first period puck line, and also in regulation -138 at Pinnacle. So I think it's that spot. Go in, take care of business off a game that won't sit well with the Hurricanes last night. Get the job done against a team you've dominated. So Carolina first period puck line and regulation. What do you think here, Alex? Canes, Flyers.
Yeah, I might even look at Carolina team total over. I think about that when these last time these two teams played, and it looked like Kochetkov and net, this would be a solid spot, and Carolina is kind of falling down a little bit. And so that's the thing that worries me about putting together a full effort. Philly's been kind of feisty too. Like I said, we saw them last night. Kind of going back and forth. They're one of those teams now that I think clearly everything's over. Guys are just playing for pride at this point, and I think we could see them be a hair bit more competitive against maybe catching a team that's good like Carolina, napping a bit. So could be back and forth. The total kind of scares me a little bit because, like I said, if Carolina is dominating, they could keep it low scoring. But if Philly, like I said, can trade some punches, this could just go over that 6. So the way I would look at it with Carolina, just going to go with their team total over. I think we can trust on them to score, and they should be able to take care of that 3.5 assault with a -$1.20. So I'll go over 3.5. That's the only play I like here.
All right, there you go. So he's Alex liking Carolina too, but a different approach, which sometimes is the good approach, because there's times where the team total hits and the team loses. It's happened. Look at Buffalo against Washington earlier this week. They scored 4 goals. They lost the game. So it can happen where the team total hits, but the team doesn't win. What do you think here, Kevin? Hurricanes and Flyers.
Yeah, I'm under 6 here on the game total. Hurricanes offense, has kind of teetered off here last few weeks. I don't trust them to score enough, and I could see them just scoring a couple and then kind of clamping down on the Flyers here. I have one prop this game: Owen Tippett over 2.5. You only have to pay -118 to get it.
Yep.
And this guy's an animal right now. 9 of the last 10 he's been over, and he's just flying over the number. Like he's throwing 7s, 8s, 9s up there pretty regularly. I was very surprised when I saw this price, and even to see the line at 2.5. So that prop is just too good. I was just going to play just one in this game, but very surprised at the price. I know the Hurricanes are a good defensive team, but the way he's just flying over that number and consistently hitting it game after game, that's one of my favorite bets today for sure.
All right, there, and I agree with it 100%. In fact, I was on Tippett last night over shots against Buffalo, and you're right. He's someone to go with right now. Shooting the puck, got 2 goals last night as well against the Buffalo Sabres last night in that game. So, yeah, Owen Tippett. I mean, I don't love betting a ton of shots on goal player props against Carolina because they just do such a good job keeping the shots on goal against at a minimum. But he's the one I'd still go with for Philadelphia. I like Aho on the Carolina side for shots on goal, starting to trend over in the other direction. And I like Marty Necas in some form, goal prop, point prop. He's just been money this season for the Carolina Hurricanes, no question. All right, we got New Jersey and Florida next up at where did New Jersey? Yeah, it's New Jersey, Florida. For some reason that game's disappeared from my live odds screen. I can't figure out why, but it is next in the rotation order. Trust me. Florida minus 120 home favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. When you look at the Panthers here, starting to put things together, play better. They were obviously off that crazy game, and I can't stress that enough how crazy it was against Montreal the other night. It was 7-3 after the first period, and they ended up winning it 9-5 at the end of the night. So Florida, 14 goals. We'll see if things calm down here in this game against the Devils. Devils, very disappointing back-to-back for them at home against Tampa Bay, losing both of those games. They'll look to bounce back. I mean, I think you'll get a good effort from them, but they're kind of not playing as good as I would like right now at the moment. Florida has been a little bit better. I don't think I'm getting a good enough price on New Jersey. I lean Jersey, but after losing a couple times with them, I'm going to pass. Plus, they play Tampa tomorrow on a back-to-back, the New Jersey Devils, and I could see them really wanting that one tomorrow night. In fact, I hope the Devils lose tonight, and I might back the Devils tomorrow night when they play Tampa, because I think you'll get a better price with them. They're really not going to want to lose 3 games in a week span, against 1 week span against Tampa Bay. And they've actually been better on the road than at home. So I actually prefer to back the Devils on the road more often. So I do lean Devils here, but I think the better spot and the better price certainly will be tomorrow night in that back-to-back against Tampa. I think they really play a strong, hard, tough game tomorrow night. Not that they won't tonight, but I just prefer the spot tomorrow to back New Jersey as opposed to tonight. I certainly lean over, but maybe I'm going to look to get a better price with the live over in this game. What do you think here, Alex? Devils, Panthers?
Yeah, it's a pass for me because, like I said, if it wasn't for the Tampa game tomorrow night, I would be all over New Jersey at this price. I don't think New Jersey and Florida are certainly a pick 'em battle in my eyes. Even with Florida, okay, they're feeding off the sisters of the poor and getting out goals galore against Montreal. But Montreal, as we mentioned, basically has 6 traffic cones, playing defense, and they got a actual brick wall that's got holes in it for a goaltender. So we're talking about 2 completely different things, and this would normally be a all over New Jersey spot, but they might be looking a little bit ahead to the better team that's in the Sunshine State. And you can't say really much better because Florida and Tampa Bay both have had their ups and downs of late. So I think they're just going to be a little bit more focused, especially since they played each other earlier this week on Tampa. This could be a spot where they get tripped up. So I want no part of it here. But that was really interesting, though. I don't know why the odds literally disappeared and came back as we were talking about it. So I don't know if there's some kind of change going on. So if you are going to bet this game, maybe take a look around Twitter or something and find some notes. Something may be up. I don't know.
Yeah, the draw does appeal. I might actually sprinkle on that draw. The more I look at it, I see 4 of the last 10 for New Jersey have gone past regulation, and 3 of the last 10 for Florida, but more importantly, 2 of the last 3. So in the shorter term, we've seen Florida play some pretty tight games recently, including at home. So that draw is not a bad option here. There's not a bad option for the draw on the card today, for sure. Plus 358, especially at that price. Wow, plus 358 at Pinnacle.
That's worthy because there's 2 teams. Florida needs all the points they can get. New Jersey, they'll be satisfied.
They don't care if Florida gets points. They're in their own race. Florida's trying to get in. New Jersey's trying to win a division. They're not in the same race together. They're in different parts of the spectrum as far as the standings are concerned. So Florida's not going to be pissed if Jersey gets a point and vice versa. Yeah.
So that's great draw
candidate for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when I see plus 358. Got to put a couple bucks on it. A lot of props I like, but let's get Kevin's thoughts first. What do you think, Kevin? New Jersey, Florida.
Yeah, I like the game over. My line was showing 7. That always scares me off. So I was looking to the Alex special and kind of wait a little bit and then play the live over on 6.5 once we get into the game. So I think Florida's games are just, they can score or they give up goals. There's just too much going on. This New Jersey team, they can put the puck in the net as well. So I like the over if you can get it at 6.5. or maybe wait a little bit into the game. If there's no goals, then kind of go after it. A couple props I do like. One I couldn't get on. Verhaeghe was kind of, I've been living off that overshots and Verhaeghe for a few months now. Today that was not offered for me. Couldn't get on that.
What about El Capitan, Kevin? Sasha Barkov, Alex Barkov for Florida. 8 straight, over 2.5 for him.
Yeah, so since he came back from that hand injury there, you were all over the over, and I said, you know what? Like, I don't know if his hand's going to be 100%. Like, they need him back, and he's definitely not back 100%. He's getting back in the lineup as soon as he can. But I don't know if they gave him a Terminator hand or what they did to him, but he's put the puck on net here. So I got him on the over here, 2.5. Yeah, very impressive. He's carrying the team right now. And then Sam Reinhart, I'm sure you're on this one too, over 2.5. The last 3 straight, he's cruised over it. 7 of the last 10 he's been over, and pretty good price on him, minus 136, and he's consistently been over. So I'm on Barkov, Reinhart, and if Verhaeghe is offered, I like that as well.
Yeah, you don't just stop there. I mean, you can go Ekblad, you can go Montour. This is a great shots on goal prop. I think there'll be a lot of shots in this game. You could go with Hischier for New Jersey, Dougie Hamilton for New Jersey, Jack Hughes for New Jersey. I mean, it's a really good shots on goal prop game, in my opinion here. A bunch of Florida guys that are, like I mentioned, including Barkov, including Reinhart. No question, all worthy. Even Bennett, we know, has hit the shots on goal prop. He's a little more sporadic with his, but definitely he's gone over to his shots on goal at 2.5 a lot since he's been back from his injury for Florida as well. So a lot of good prop options here in this game. All right, good stuff. Before we get to the next game, we'll take our mid-show pause, middle of the card pause. We've got 6 down and still 7 to go on this loaded NHL slate. We appreciate everyone joining us on YouTube. Hit the like button. We'll be back with the second half of the Saturday card right after we hear from Gramco.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta-8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta-8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta-8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta-8 products today.
All right, we're back here on the ice, guys. We go to the Battle of Ontario. Next up, Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators. Toronto minus 135, road favorites, 6.5 the total. Back-to-back for the Leafs after a win at home against Kakalaki last night, and now they will play the Ottawa Senators. Rested, but not in good form. Another loss for them, albeit tough loss. They played well, played actually quite well. The effort was great against Colorado, but could not get the job done. They lose 5-4. The problem continues to be the defense and the goaltending. I mean, just giving up too many good chances, too many goals. That's been their issue. Going back to the road trip they had out west, it's been a problem right now for Ottawa. So they're going to have to shore that up. But unfortunately, Talbot and Forsberg aren't coming back in net anytime soon. You got to roll with Mads Sogard. It is confirmed him in net again for the Senators. His numbers are borderline ghastly. 3.46 goals against average, .883 save percentage for the Senators going into this game. Toronto will start Matt Murray, the former Ottawa Senator. We often like that type of angle for a goaltender playing his old team, wants to play well. Although Matt Murray has been, up and down. He's had some good games. He's had some not so good games. He's actually been period to period as well. I find one period he's excellent, and then the next period he's given up a couple goals. Maybe he should stop. So Matt Murray in net. Samsonov, by the way, dealing with a minor injury, and his wife's about to give birth to their kids. So they decided we're not even bringing you on the trip here to Ottawa. So Samsonov's not even with the team tonight. Joseph Wall will back up Matt Murray tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game. So I'm tempted by Ottawa here. I really am. Ottawa isn't playing well, but this is classic Toronto to beat Carolina last night. And another thing, too, with Toronto is they always have their hands full with Ottawa. Ottawa always plays them tough. So I'm going to take a little small shot with the Sens here, plus 115, plus 120 in this game. And I'm also going to sprinkle on that draw. This is going to be that classic late season Ian Cameron underdog draw split bet. So a little on Ottawa here, plus 120, and a little on the draw, which is a really good price here. The draw is upwards of plus 360 at Pinnacle for the draw. So that's the way we're going here with a little draw and Ottawa split in this game. And a lean to the over for sure at 6.5, just based on, because it's hard not to bet Ottawa games over right now. They can score still, but man, having a hard time keeping it out of their net. What do you think here, Alex? Leafs, Senators.
So I like first period, both teams to score, and I'm trying to find what that price is.
That makes sense. I could definitely see that.
And because we've seen 5-2 to the first period over in the last 7 meetings. Like I said, these are two teams that always play each other tough, but not necessarily sure if we're going to be, both teams to score. I think we're going to have a close battle early, and then I think the Leafs could pull away late, even though this is one of those, like I said, classic spots. Ottawa plays them tough. But the Leafs had actually played fairly well for the last 5 meetings. The Leafs had won, where before it pretty much been all Ottawa, and even with some really bad Ottawa teams against good Maple Leafs teams, the Sens have been able to pick up some victories. But Ottawa's form right now, like you said, I think they realize that yes, we are technically still mathematically alive in the postseason race, but the writing's on the wall. They're going to be left out, and I think they're getting things ready for the future. Like I said, this is an Ottawa team that, I'm not discounting them. I still think they had a halfway decent season, even if they don't make the playoffs. I would have loved for them to make the playoffs because I had a DJ Smith ticket to win the Adams Trophy, which he certainly would have been in the race had he got him there. And I had the ticket for them to make the playoffs at plus 250. But I'm counting those losers in my head already, basically, barring some kind of a miraculous turnaround in the next couple of weeks. So lean with Leafs here. Definitely going to go with that first period, both teams to score. I like that more than the over two.
Yeah, that's a good – and the first period, both teams to score is upwards of plus 150 at some books. So really good price with that. So shop around. I'm going to hop on that too. This is definitely a good first period, both teams to score candidate. I think Edmonton-Seattle actually this afternoon could be one of those games where it's a good candidate as well. The first period, both teams to score, especially given the high-scoring nature of that series history. What do you think here, Kevin? Leafs and Sens?
Yeah, I don't like playing the Leafs very often on a money line just because you never know with them. But this is one of the few times where the Senators I just don't think have it right now. Ever since dropping that 5-0 game against Chicago, it's been it's been rough, really rough for them right now. Leafs are playing some good hockey. And a guy who I'm finally placing a bet on the over, maybe all year, is Austin Matthews, a guy who looks like he's finally coming into form here. He's gone 4 straight over that 4.5 shots mark, and it's paying plus money today, plus 110 on my book for him to be 5 or more, and he's starting to put the puck in the net. So this is a team that's been having a great season without this guy being at the top of his game. It looks like he's coming into form here. So I like Austin Matthews on the over 4.5 for the plus money. And I also like the Leafs, a rare bet on the Leafs on the money line here. I just think the price is too good for them on the differences of the caliber of the two teams here.
Hey, I think form-wise, it feels like it's a cheap price on Toronto. It does. Minus 135. I can't argue with that. Toronto's in good form for the most part. I mean, they had their bad game against Buffalo on Monday night at home. But that's also why I think Ottawa could be live, here, just because they play Toronto tough. Toronto has these moments where it play down to competition. Happens too much still, in my opinion, with this team. So that's my thinking behind the small shot with Ottawa here and the draw in particular at plus, like I say, plus 360 or so. Really good price with the draw. You're right. So the props I like here in this game, I think the Senators can score. It's a question of can they keep Toronto off the scoreboard, because keeping the puck out has been certainly their difficulty lately for the Ottawa Senators. But definitely some props I like. DeBrincat's gone over his shots on goal prop for Ottawa in 3 straight games. Timmy Stützle on a 5-game point streak, and I'm always interested in his shots on goal over. I think that's definitely a prop I would be looking at here tonight as well for them. What else have we got? There's also several others here in terms of Drake Batherson actually has gone over his shots in 7 of the last 10, and you get better price on that. So I don't mind that look as well for Ottawa. You mentioned Matthews. He's been a shooting machine lately. There's no question. Him getting to 5 shots on goal has been a regular occurrence. And I think he feels like, hey, I feel his health. And he's talked about this. He feels his hand is no longer a problem. He feels as healthy as he's been. He can shoot the puck better than he has recently. So, I think, and he's shooting the puck more because I think he's not feeling the pain anymore. With the hand. The hand's fine. So definitely I look at this matchup as a game where he could probably hit that 5+ shots on goal here against the Ottawa Senators. So it makes sense to look at that prop. All right, next up, we've got Montreal and Tampa Bay. The Lightning -340 home favorite, 6.5 the total. I'm just betting over here, keeping it simple. Montreal over until they prove they can not allow 8 goals, not allow 9 goals like they have so far this week. Just a monstrosity at the defensive end of the ice. And you would think Marty St. Louis at some point is going to hammer it home, play some fucking defense. But, it just hasn't shown up for Montreal at all this week defensively. Jake Allen and Montembeault are a mess right now in net for both of these teams. Or for this, it's not for both, for Montreal. They have both had a rough week. Fighting the puck, Allen in particular has been atrocious. I don't know if I've seen a back-to-back games worse for Jake Allen than Colorado and then the Florida game. The other night. Just goals that shouldn't go in. We're going in against them left and right. Tampa Bay certainly should be able to find the back of the net. I worry about complacency, though, back home. 2 big wins against New Jersey. Montreal looks too easy. But, boy, Tampa Bay, with what they have firepower-wise, it's hard not to envision them lighting up Montreal like every team that's played Montreal this week has lit them up. So I think Tampa scores. I think Montreal scores, though, too, because I expect Brian Elliott to be in net tonight for the Montreal Canadiens in this game. And it is confirmed Brian Elliott in net for them. So I think that opens the door for Montreal to get some offense as well. So clear decision for me to go over 6.5. Alex, what do you think? Habs Lightning.
Yeah, it'd be a lean to over 6.5. Montreal's in just such bad form, and there's no way to even look for Tampa Bay Lightning team total at a good value. You're laying a price on 4, so it's going to be one I'll be watching. Maybe Tampa Bay can dictate the pace and slow things down, drop these numbers low enough where we can grab some totals at lower numbers in game. That might be what I look for. But other than that, this would be a clear pass for me. I mean, Tampa should put the screws to Montreal. Florida scored, Diane. I mean, God, if Tampa Bay, is feeling ready to play a full 60-minute effort, who knows how many goals they can get on this Habs team. So it's a wait, watch, and react in game for me.
Yeah, definitely. So a 1-1, by the way, Colorado, Detroit. So the over's off to a nice start there for
I gave that out in the chat at 5.5 plus $1.10.
There you go. All right. So you timed that one well. Excellent work, Alex. But with the live over with the Wings and the Avs here. But yeah, as far as the props go in this game, I'm going back to that Montreal law firm of Anderson and Matheson for the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, those 2 guys have been shots on goal, point props, you name it. They've been the guys for Montreal lately, no question. And for Tampa Bay, Alex Killorn. I think he's, like we've talked about him the last couple of games. Alex Killorn's been waking up from his offensive slumber that he was in much of the season. He's been racking up points lately. I like Killorn point tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kevin, what do you think here? Habs, Bolts.
Yeah, I'd love to give you a different, fresh angle on this game here, but I'm in the same boat here. I like the over. I kind of went the safe route. Just pulled it to over 6. Paid a little bit of extra juice for that -148. Just don't completely trust the Lightning offense altogether the last month here. I know they've been able to score some goals against the Devils the last couple of games, but overall the last month they haven't been scoring a ton. So I kind of pull it to the 6 instead of 6.5. And then I agree with Alex. Just the team total value wasn't there on Tampa. On the line of over 4 there. So I just have the way Montreal's been, they'll give up a ton, but they're scoring a ton. I expect them to kind of chip in as well. So I like the game total of over 6. pretty simple.
There you go. No props, just the total for Kevin here with Montreal, Tampa Bay over 6.5. All right, this is your ABC nationally televised Saturday night showcase. Pittsburgh Penguins, New York Rangers, McDonough and Ferraro, and Emily Kaplan, who does a phenomenal job. I don't want to forget about her. She's terrific. We've got the Rangers minus 145 home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. This is weird because now this is third time in a week for the Penguins versus the Rangers, and you've got Penguins winning Sunday, Rangers return the favor, win the last game. I'm leaning toward the zigzag theory, if you will, tonight with Pittsburgh a little bit here at a nice price too, plus 125. And it's not that the Rangers don't need the points, don't want the points, but certainly it's Pittsburgh trying to hold their footing on a wild card spot here in this game and moving forward. So I think the Penguins are worth a little shot here. This is another one where I do the Pittsburgh /draw or the underdog /draw here, pit and draw, a little combination, split it up and with the point, do the usual where I go either half a unit on the underdog and the quarter unit on the draw, or I go quarter unit on the dog and 0.1 unit on the draw is usually the way I go about it. And if one of them hits, you're profitable. So, and we've talked about this theory of mine the last few shows. Late season, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh plus 125 and a little bit smaller here on the draw. The one thing we've seen with Penguins Rangers too is we've seen a lot of close games head to head between the teams. Even the game last time was 4-2 empty net goal, putting it away for the Rangers. We saw 3-2 in overtime for Pittsburgh before that. We saw 3-2 for Pittsburgh back in December last year in New York. In the regular season, that is, we saw a lot of close games as well. So with points, that both teams are looking for in this game, I think it's another competitive, tight game, back and forth. So I'm going to go a little Pittsburgh plus 125 and a little on the draw in this game. And again, another draw price that is pretty appealing when you're talking about what you're able to get here on that. So going to go in those two directions here in this ABC televised affair with Penguins Rangers. Plus 346, by the way, you can find for the draw on Pinnacle. Alex, Penguins Rangers.
Yeah, Daniel H in the chat says he's tired of seeing this matchup. I'm tired of seeing this matchup. So you can imagine how tired Pittsburgh and New York must be of seeing each other the third time in less than a week. And these are two teams, like I said, that had history with some rough and tough playoff series over the years. And I think this is going to be a fun one. I like the draw here. I think it's going to go back and forth. We should have cashed it in the last meeting. Rangers had, it was a solid and close battle. And then all of a sudden, a couple of goals late, they pull away to win it. But I think we see OT here. And for a player prop, like I said, I don't dabble in them as much as you guys, but talk about ABC, national TV, Saturday night, Broadway. The only thing that pops in my head is Showtime. So give me Sir Patrick Kane to score a goal. I'm seeing as high as plus 198 right now at FanDuel.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think the spotlight of ABC Saturday night, New York City. Yeah, I could see Kane having a big game. I could see the other guy that's the new Ranger wanting to make an impact too, Tarasenko, in this game. I think a point prop on him is worth a look. You know who I'm going to talk about with Pittsburgh. You know it already. Ricard Raquel, Jason Zucker. All right, these two guys have been terrific. Point prop, goal prop, shots on goal, anything to do with those two Penguins, Raquel, Zucker. I sign off on it. What do you think here, Kevin? What do you sign off on, Kevin? Penguins Rangers.
Yeah, thanks for the lead in with Raquel there. That's my only prop of the game. That's actually my only bet of the game. This is actually one of my favorite. I'm not tired of seeing this matchup at all. This is one of my favorite matchups of the day.
They have been good games. I will say that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like your angle in there playing the price on the Penguins and then the draw. For me, I just don't know what Pittsburgh team you're going to get. They've just been too unpredictable. The Rangers look like they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to kind of find some chemistry with these new players they've added. But that Pittsburgh team, you never know. You think they're not going to show up, they show up, and then when you think they're rolling, then they drop a dud here. So I'm staying away from that totally. I just like my one prop on your sign off there, Raquel over 2.5. Pretty decent price, minus 125. 7 of the last 10, he's hit it. And if he does miss it, he just misses it by 1. So he's always right in there. He's always in the mix. He's getting pucks on the net consistently. So that's my one play, but it's one of my favorite I'd love to see Showtime Kane show up as well. So Alex, I like that as well. But yeah, this is one of my favorite games to watch today.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Jari started the game on Thursday with Penguins Rangers. I'd expect DeSmith, honestly, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. So we're just waiting on that. I actually prefer DeSmith right now, honestly. I mean, Jari has not been at his best since returning from that injury. We got to call it like we see it. Hasn't been that same goalie. It really is a shame because he was playing well before his injury. And since he's come back, hasn't been the same goalie for Pittsburgh. He's really had a rough time. So I'm hoping it's DeSmith. That's definitely going to be good news for Penguins backers, or better news, better hope for them if he is the one in net. All right, Dallas Stars, Calgary Flames. We've got Calgary minus 130, home favorites, 6 the total. So I ain't laying minus 130 with Calgary off a road trip, back home first game. That's definitely not something I'm doing. You can cross that off the list. We're not doing that here, taking Calgary. And it's, by the way, it's heart palpitations waiting to happen if you take Calgary as well with the way they play. I mean, they just frustrate you. The Calgary Sternums just they put it into the goalie's chest too often. Not enough finish, 40 shots, not enough finish. It's definitely been an issue for them. But do you want to take Dallas? Dallas is off a loss to Vancouver, back-to-back losses to Vancouver and Edmonton. Are they starting to cool off? Remember, we talked about how red hot this offense was. They've certainly been cooled off the last 2 games, 3 goals in the last 2 games combined in those losses to the Oilers and the Canucks. So, are they starting to come back down to earth? I definitely still lean Dallas, though. I really do. This is more important for Calgary because they're trying to catch Winnipeg for one of those final playoff spots. But Dallas is still trying to fend off Minnesota, Colorado, and others in their own division for first. So it's not like Dallas is coming in here trying to not get points, especially after 2 straight losses. So, dare the Flames to win 2 in a row, Benjamin, is a good point. This has not always been a team that's been able to put win streaks together. They had a 2-game win streak against Dallas and Minnesota, but putting together win streaks has been an issue at times for the Flames of late. Jacob Markstrom already confirmed in net, presuming Ottinger for Dallas, but it hasn't been confirmed. That is the one thing that could get me off Dallas here for sure. It would be Jake Ottinger not being in net, but projected, but hasn't been confirmed yet. Whether he will be in between the pipes for the Dallas Stars. This is definitely a draw candidate. No question about that. It's just a question of will I sprinkle on Dallas as well in this game. But I definitely think the draw is live between the Stars and the Flames. Keep in mind, the last time they played in Dallas, we were seconds away from a draw and from overtime. And Tyler Toffoli just ripped our hearts out with 5 seconds left and won it in regulation. And then the game before that in Dallas was a 6-5 game that nearly went to overtime. Last May in Calgary, the last meeting in this building between the 2 teams, it actually was the playoffs, but we know what it was, Game 7, overtime. So definitely a live draw, in my opinion, here with the Stars and the Flames tonight. And again, you're talking about a price that is very appealing, like with most of them, plus 332. What do you think here, Alex? Stars, Flames?
Yep, first thing I bet this morning was plus 330 on that draw with Dallas and Calgary. Like I said, those are 2 teams that always play each other tight and close. Both teams need points, but they're not in the same spectrum. Dallas fighting for a division title, Calgary just trying to make it into the playoffs. So great candidate for that. And as far as, like I said, if Ottinger's starting, I'm not going to look at the side. I'm actually going to look at Ottinger's over saves props. Like I said, a lot of easy work and easy shots. And if you're putting it right in the middle of his chest, he's going to have a pretty good night from the saves department. So I like Ottinger over saves, just waiting for that confirmation and for that number to pop up. But definitely on this draw here, plus 230.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, definitely Ottinger saves, because the one thing you get from Calgary is shot volume. No doubt about that. What do you think here, Kevin? Stars and Flames?
Yeah, I haven't jumped on this draw train with you guys yet, but if I was going to start, this seems like the perfect game to start and get going on that. This Calgary team obviously don't like that price, minus 130, as you mentioned. And as soon as they get a sniff of the playoffs, and this is, they get on a couple wins, this is where they go and drop a couple and kind of disappoint you. So as a Canadian team, I'm rooting for them to get in, but this is kind of where they go and you start feeling good about, okay, maybe they're back in the race, and then they go and blow a couple here. So for me, I'm staying away from either side. I just got my one favorite prop of probably the last couple of months. Michael Backlund has slowed up a little bit the last couple of games, but he's still done enough here over the bigger frame of time here to to convince me to stay on him here. Over 2.5. You do have to pay a little bit now, minus 190. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here to keep kind of chugging away and hit that three shot mark. So even those couple of games where he did miss it, he was still at 2 shots. He's still in the mix. And then I'm looking at his last 10, though. He's still hitting 4 and 5 quite a bit. So I still like him to hit his 3 and keep playing the way he has been and throwing the puck on that in the chest.
Into the yeah, exactly. Which is all we need with the shots on goal prop. Just hit the goalie. That's all you do. And they're great at that. We're great at hitting the goalie. Yeah.
He's got 3 goals in the last 4, so he's been finding those 5 and 6 holes there. So.
Yeah, him in particular. You're right. We shouldn't be so hard on Backlund, right? He has been actually scoring for them, but you're right. The majority of these Flames, you're right. Just they're good at hitting the goalie. And that's all you need, obviously, when you're talking shots on goal player props. I do want to mention a couple for Dallas. Miro Heiskanen's on an incredible point streak, and his point prop's only minus 155 tonight. It's lower than it's been recently, so I don't mind that with Heiskanen to get a point. The guy for me still for Dallas undervalued beyond belief is Wyatt Johnston. He's plus 120 to get a point tonight. You could even sprinkle plus 360 to get a goal. He's been magnificent. He's just a rookie, too. What a season he's had for Dallas. He's very undervalued still. For the Stars, Wyatt Johnston, still worth a look as far as the props go. 8 of the last 10, he has a point, and he's like plus money to get a point tonight. Ben is in a good zone, 7 of the last 10 with a point. Rope Hintz, same thing. Pavelski, 7 of the last 10 with a point for the Dallas Stars. So keep an eye on that. You mentioned Backlund, Toffoli. Kadri has gone over his shots in 7 of the last 10 for Calgary. So definitely some good shots on goal player prop options. And yeah, the Ottinger saves as well. I might look at that as well once confirmation is made that he's the starter tonight for the Dallas Stars. All right, next up, we've got Vancouver and L.A. We've got the Kings minus 190, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. I don't have much on this game. This is the one game side and total, not really much. Vancouver's playing tough. I mean, even they finally lost the other night to snap their win streak against Arizona, but competitive in defeat. Rick Tocchet, though, didn't like their effort. He said, we've got a lot of passengers. We'll see if they play better. They're going to need to, obviously, against a very good LA Kings team. We'll see who's in net for their respective teams. Todd McClellan's been kind of going back and forth with Copley and Korpisalo lately. So Copley got the start the other night. So I would assume Korpisalo tonight, but it hasn't been confirmed. Probably Thatcher Demko in net for Vancouver. Vancouver is beaten up a little on the blue line. It is worth noting. They've got 5 defensemen out right now. Bear, Dermott, Ekman, Larson, Pullman, Hronik for the Canucks out for them at the moment. Fiala's day-to-day for LA. Sean Dursey on the blue line day-to-day as well. You know who I'm going to target here certainly for LA, and that's, first of all, from shots on goal standpoint, Victor Arvidsson has been a man possessed with the shots on goal lately for the LA Kings. I definitely think his shots on goal prop worth a look here tonight against the Vancouver Canucks. Victor Arvidsson, 8 straight games he's gone over his shots on goal, averaging 5.2 shots per game during that span. Kuzmenko, anything Kuzmenko is worth a look. Talk about red hot. 6 straight games with a point prop, goal prop on Kuzmenko. He's been magnificent. 4 straight games with a goal for him as well for Vancouver. Connor Garland, like I say, he's worth a look too on the Vancouver side. Played for Tocchet in Arizona. He has a point in 3 straight games. Gabe Velarde for LA, goal and point props. He's heating up again. So those are the props I like in this one. We'll go to Alex. What do you think here? Canucks and Kings. We lost Alex. Kevin, how about you? Canucks and Kings.
Yeah, I like that Arvidsson shots bet there. That's a great find by you. The other one I like too is JT Miller. Over 2.5. It's plus 100. 5 of the last 6 he's hit it. That's a guy who seems to kind of stepped up since Tocchet came in and has been playing a lot better. And I also like the over in the total game, 6.5. It's one I might live bet a little bit, to kind of do the Alex special, wait a little bit in the game, try and get a better price on it. But these are two teams that have been scoring goals lately. Vancouver's been buzzing that way. They've been putting the puck in the net, and so is LA. So there's 2 teams that can score. I like that 6.5 on the over, and then JT Miller and Arvidsson on the over for my 2 props.
I want to caution people too about LA, and it's why I'm off the game. And look, Vancouver, I think, wants to play better. They didn't love their effort against Arizona. I don't want to say they'll win and they're live, but I'd rather take Vancouver in this spot than LA. We know LA can be prone. They just beat Columbus and the Islanders. They did have that, kind of semi letdown spot against Nashville early in the week. And they have been good, obviously, 7-1 their last 8 games. But Vancouver's had an odd little dominance over them. It goes without saying. It's strange to see it, but yes, the Vancouver Canucks have really had their way against LA. 8-1 in the last 9 head-to-head meetings, and already earlier this year, the teams have played each other. Actually, they played each other just the one time. It was back in November, which means they're going to play each other a lot between now and the end of the season. And Vancouver won 4-1 at home against LA. So just be careful. Canucks have actually played the Kings very well the last 9 meetings. What do you think here, Alex? Canucks Kings.
Yeah, I played over 2 in the first period at plus 120. As Kevin mentioned, these are 2 teams that have been really scoring. And Vancouver 15-4 the last 19 that first period over. I think we see a bunch of goals. So I love the first period over, and also I'll lean that full game at 6.5.
And I know our good friend, who's an amazing amazing contributor, and in terms of joining us on the betcasts on Tuesday night, John Massey pointed this out to me. The first 10 minutes, a goal being scored for Vancouver, but especially when they play on the road, has been incredible. It's like 30-3 on the season. On the road, Vancouver, first goal in the first 10 minutes. Now it's up to -165, -170, the price on that. But, man, it's hard to ignore it and not bet it when you see 30-3 being the record for that bet. So that also plays into that over first period that Alex was talking about here, that you obviously have a great chance to get 1 goal on the board in the first period, and probably a chance you get at least the 2 that you need to at least get a push with that, with Vancouver, LA in the first period over. All right, Chicago, Arizona, just 2 games left. We're almost there. Arizona -145, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. Crazy as it is to say, these teams should be losing. These teams are supposed to suck, but they're not sucking right now. It's really amazing to watch it. Someone's got to lose this game. I mean, these are actually 2 of the hotter teams in the NHL. I shit you not right now going into this game. Maybe not so much Chicago. I'm going overboard. But, I mean, in terms of being competitive, they've been 4-3 loss to Detroit, overtime loss to Florida. They were tied into the final minute with Tampa Bay, back-to-back wins against Boston and Nashville. Boston, the best team in the NHL. Nashville battling for playoff positioning. Chicago beats them both. And here's Arizona, 5-1 in their last 6 games on a 5-game home winning streak going into this game at Mullet Arena. So something's got to give. I would lean Arizona just a little bit because they've been excellent at home, but I don't want to lay $1.45. And, Chicago's been playing, competitive and sometimes winning hockey lately as well. This is more of a prop game for me for sure. I like the over. 2 teams not going anywhere. I think it could get over the total. That I do like, over 6 here with Chicago and Arizona. And then in the prop department here, there's definitely some options that pique my interest here. Arizona, Barrett Hayton, 8 of the last 10 with a point. Krause, 7 of the last 10 with a point. Michelli, 7 of the last 10 with a point. I like all of those 3 Coyote players props tonight in this game. Phil Kurashev, actually, over 7 of his last 10 over shots on goal for the Chicago Blackhawks. By the way, if you're interested, we're always late in the season. Keep an eye on these teams not going anywhere, to these coaches like Andre Tourigny for Arizona and Luke Richardson for Chicago. Do they experiment with their lines a bit? It looks like we've got Mackenzie Entwistle on the number 1 power play tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. So that's what we're seeing right now. So I guess they're experimenting some stuff. If you have faith in him to maybe chip in, there's definitely value now if he's going to play number 1 power play tonight for the Chicago Blackhawks. But just pointing that out, that maybe there's value on Entwistle, maybe to chip in offensively. I like Seth Jones over shots on goal. Taylor Radish is the number 1 option for me right now with this Chicago team. He's been feeling it with an incredible 7 points in the last 5 games, as well as 6 goals in the last 5 games for Taylor Radish. So definitely my number 1 player prop tonight for the Hawks is Radish here for them tonight. What do you think here, Alex? Blackhawks, Coyote?
Yeah, the better games to watch on television tonight. I have the draw. We've seen the draw cash in 3 of the last.
No, you don't say. There's better games than this.
Yeah, yeah, right. And that's just, in these 2 teams, like you said, they should be losing. Each fan base wants them to lose in regulation. And the worst possible outcome would be a 3-point game, which is what I think exactly happens here. I would also look at that over. Obviously, Arizona gives up shots in bunches. The Hawks, at the same time, you think about, okay, well, the Hawks can get the offense going. But when you talk about Mackenzie Entwistle on the power play, I don't know if how great of a fit he's going to be in that spot. So this could easily be one of those 2-2 or 3-3 games. We see some goals, but mostly it's going to be a lot of nothing, and this one goes past regulation. So just take the draw at plus 330 and don't even watch
I'm
it.
going to sprinkle a little too on Lucas Reichel anytime goal scorer. I like the way that kid's played.
If that's
one of the
anybody,
guys with legit skill and ability right now up front in the top 6 for Chicago.
Yeah, that's probably him and Jones are probably the only two, and Radish. Those are your 3 key offensive guys for Chicago. Everybody else, if they chip in, it's a coin flip.
It's sporadic at best from everyone else, the rest of the committee, no doubt about it. All right, Kevin, what do you think here, Chicago, Arizona?
Yeah, these are the 2 teams that kind of scare me the most as far as betting against right now. Of all the teams out of the playoffs, Arizona and Chicago are the teams that I'm scared to bet against. Just, I don't know how they're finding a way to be competitive, but they're doing it. However, I'm going to err on the side of the Coyotes here. I like Coyotes over 3 for minus 118. I do like them to get their goals. I just trust their offense more in this game. And then Clayton Keller for a goal plus 130. He's been pretty hot lately. I think he has 5 in his last 4 games here. So he's been scoring, and against the Chicago team, I like him to put the puck in the net. But yeah, not the most exciting game, but 2 teams that find a way to be competitive right now. But I like the Coyotes offense a little more.
I'll throw one out there too, and shots on goal for Arizona. One of their someone's got to shoot the puck from the blue line with Jacob Chychrun and among others gone. And Juuso Valimaki has been that guy lately for Arizona. He was in Calgary's organization for a bit. Now he's here in the desert. He's gone over his shot prop, which has only been 1.5, but he's gone over it in 4 straight games for the Arizona Coyotes. So could look in that direction. I'm with Kevin in his thought process with Keller to find the back of the net. Now, I'm not saying his goal prop price is the best, but it's like McKinnon for Colorado. It's not the best with him either, but it's hard not to bet it just because of how red hot the production has been. It's only plus 1. It's still not bad. Plus 160 at FanDuel for him to score a goal. And it's 2, 4, 5 goals in the last 4 games, as you mentioned, for Keller. So still probably a good look there in that game.
If it was any other better team, I probably wouldn't like that price. With it being Chicago, I like him to find his way and get it done.
All right. I was hoping we'd keep it close to 90 minutes. We're just above the 90-minute mark, and we've reached our final game. Not bad. Islanders and Sharks. Islanders minus 190, road favorites. 6 the total in this game. Look, San Jose, they're a weird team. They can get romped 6-1 and get blown out, get whipped. And then there's games they can, take Seattle to overtime. And if that's the case, we're in trouble here. But I'm definitely going to lean and probably will bet, at least for something small, Islanders in regulation here. I do think they're capable of getting this done. It's only minus 114, by the way. A pretty good price on that to win this game against the Sharks. We'll see, especially if it's Kokkonen in net. I'm not like Reimer's actually played pretty well some of his last couple starts. He's played actually better in some of these starts recently than I thought. But David Quinn's been kind of back and forth with the goalies, which means I think it's going to be Kaapo Kakkonen tonight in net, which it just hasn't been confirmed yet. Ilya Sorokin projected for the Islanders. I think if the Islanders want to, maintain their hold on one of these 2 wild cards, you got to get the job done here. Islanders in regulate, and they did against Anaheim. That's what gives me the confidence they can follow it up tonight here against San Jose. They didn't screw around with Anaheim. It's a team they should have beat. They did, and hopefully they can do so here tonight as well. So Islanders in regulation. I'll throw out a prop that I like in this game. Obviously for San Jose, we've talked Barabanov and Eklund as well for San Jose. He got a penalty shot goal against Seattle, which now means back-to-back games with a goal for him. William Eklund is undervalued right now for San Jose. Barabanov's been undervalued all season, so I don't mind looks toward those guys as far as props are concerned. But then on the New York Islanders side, here's the one you go with right now. The former Leaf, Pierre Engvall. I'm telling you what, he's got more ice time now with the Islanders. He's making the most of it. And you see the results of what he's been able to do here since joining this hockey team. He's made an impact. And now they've got Engvall with Nelson and Palmieri. They've got him up on the second line for this Islanders hockey team. And boy, is he making an impact right now. Again, he was on a Leaf team before that's loaded up front, so he didn't get the top 6 minutes. He now has a goal in 3 straight games for the Islanders, 3-game goal streak, 4 points in the last 3 games for Pierre Engvall with the New York Islanders. How do you not like his props tonight? You have to. This is exactly what you like to see, especially with a guy that's been recently traded to a new team. Increased ice time, increased opportunity, and he's plus 370 at a lot of books to score a goal tonight. And he's on a 3-game goal streak for the Islanders. So definitely a Pierre Engvall look. And I'd throw another Islander player out there because he's moving up to the top line tonight. Hudson Fasching, someone I know well because he was in the Sabres organization for a bit. Hudson Fasching is playing with Horvat and Anders Lee on the top line tonight. And Hudson Fasching is off a game where he scored a goal against Anaheim. He has 3 goals as well as 4 points in the last 5 games for the New York Islanders. So Hudson Fasching, another prop that stands out for me tonight. And his prop to score a goal is plus 610 at a couple of books and even plus 500 at FanDuel. And he's on the top line tonight, plus 500 at FanDuel, plus 610 at CoolBet. And again, top line with Horvat and Lee tonight for the Islanders. So, wow, there's some really good bargain bins that are on the table here, and I'm picking on them here for the New York Islanders. What do you think here, Alex? Final game, Islanders, Sharks.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with Islanders and regulation, and that's about it. I mean, the Sharks have been awful. Yes, they've gone to overtime the last 2 games, but they're playing Columbus, who we've talked about this season's over, Seattle, which have just been pretty just up and down. And I mean, the Islanders, as far as this team goes, they're, winning games, but their offense is still so schizophrenic. I can't even look at a total with this team. We're seeing the 6s going down to 5.5 in some spots. I still want no part of that. So I just go with the Islanders and reg. They should be able to take care of business. And if they do end up getting into a game where this goes past regulation or losing this game, then that's a telling sign. And the Islanders, this is a game where they should be really geared up and trying to continue to earn points, beat these bad teams, and solidify your stand in the wildcard race. So this would be a really bad loss if they don't win in regulation, in my opinion.
4 straight overs for the Islanders, and I will say the last 2 meetings, Islanders Sharks have gone over. I'll say this: if this drops to 5.5, count me in on the over. If it falls to 5.5, I will bet it. 5.5 is too low for San Jose, in my opinion. But at 6, I'm on the fence. If I see a 5.5 pop up, and I think we might, because it looks like it might head that way, I'm going to get in on the over as well if it gets down to 5.5 with Islanders Sharks. Kevin, what do you think here, Islanders Sharks?
Yeah, I'm actually under to the 6. I just don't trust this Islanders offense. I know they popped off against Anaheim. I think the Sharks are a little more competitive and not giving up as many goals. I think Reimer's been pretty good lately. Other than when they play Pittsburgh, I just don't trust their offense in general here. So I think the Islanders get the job done, but I look at it being maybe like a 3-2, 3-1 game. That's my opinion here. I just don't trust that offense, especially with Barzal being out until he gets back. I just don't trust him to score goals. And then my one prop, as you mentioned, Barabanov, 4 straight. He's been over that 1.5. Pretty decent price, minus 139. And I've just noticed an uptick in his ice time here since that trade deadline. So I like him on the over. And then, pretty simple game. Just the 2 bets for me on this one.
All right, there we go. Just a couple bets on this one. Oh, FanDuel is 5.5, says Noel. So yeah, I'll sprinkle on the over now that it's 5.5 there at FanDuel, and I do have a FanDuel account, so might jump over there and bet that after the show. All right, good stuff. That's the Saturday card. 13 games, a mammoth slate. We're looking forward to it. Hit the like button. We just gave you a little over 90 minutes of rock solid analysis, sides, totals, player props. We hit everything. In all 13 games on the Saturday slate. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. Check out patreon.com/Ice Guys. Just $10 a month. Goalie charts, totals charts, power ratings, the daily Ice Guys show, betting card, bonus content, and more. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. Just $10 a month.
Also, check out the Ice Guys store. 5 days remaining, 20% off of everything. We got caps, we got hoodies, we got T-shirts. Somebody found the special hidden gift that's been there all week. It's a green Ice Guy shirt that we have for St. Patty's Day. Of course, St. Patty's Day is past, but still get one now and you'll have it for next year. So check out iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Save 20% off for the next 5 days.
And our next betcast this Tuesday, March 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Live betcast, live betting commentary. Alex, me, viewers and listeners of the show. Drinking is encouraged. As always, we throw back a few pints. It really is like a bar and a pub. You're sitting there, you're shooting the shit, watching the games unfold. Live bets. It's a lot of fun. DM me at Bobano on Twitter or email bobano350@gmail.com to request a spot on the Betcast, and we will send you the link for it this Tuesday, our next Ice Guys live betcast. And Kevin, I know you mentioned down the road when you have time, you're interested in joining one of these betcasts. The door is always open for you.
Awesome. Yeah, Tuesday could be the one.
There you go. So you might see Kevin at a Betcast either this Tuesday or one in the future. So check it out, Betcast this Tuesday night. All right, we got best bets to wrap up the show in just a moment, right after we hear from our friends at Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0. Takes care of your facial hair and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete Performance Package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code ICEGUYS. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, we're back, and it's time for best bets to wrap up this marathon Saturday like it usually is. It'll be nice when the playoffs get here. The Saturday shows will actually be half an hour to an hour tops because there's obviously only a few games. So, but we enjoy it. I mean, it's a huge card, but it's only once a week where we have a card this big. Alex, what do you think here for best bet today?
We're heading out to the desert. You got Blackhawks, the Coyotes. Probably going to see a lot of red and black in the crowd because there's only, about 6,000 seats in that place. But definitely looking at it's going to be mostly a boring game. Might see a little bit of offense back and forth, but I think it'll be fairly even and standard, which is what we've seen in 3 of the last 5 meetings. Let's go with the draw. Plus 330 on Chicago and Arizona. That's my best bet for this huge Saturday card.
There you go. Liking the draw there for best bet for Alex on this Saturday. Kevin, what do you got for best bet?
I got to give you 2 here. I'm split down the line. Nino Niederreiter over 2.5 shots. He's hit it 6 of 8 on his new team. He's playing on the top line, and you're giving a juicy price of plus 135. And he's playing his old team too, so I like that one a lot. Other one is Owen Tippett over 2.5 on his shots against Carolina. Is playing a tougher team, but he's been flying over that number 9 of the last 10. So for him, I like to get the job done. Good price too, minus 118.
All right, there we go. That's 2 shots on goal prop best bets for Kevin Beach here on this Saturday. Niederreiter over 2.5 shots, and Tippett over his shots prop as well for the Philadelphia Flyers for Kevin with his best bets. And my best bet for this, I was almost tempted to go Niederreiter for a player prop best bet today, but no, I'm going to go with for best bet on this slate. There's a lot that I like. Let's see. Let's go with that Montreal Tampa over 6.5 minus 125. It cashed with an over last night. So those have been pretty good for me with best bets lately. I think it's Canadiens Lightning. It's Montembeault versus Elliott. I think you're going to see goals both ways. They can talk all they want about shoring it up defensively, but I need to see evidence of it before I believe it. Let's go with the over there. Canadians Lightning over 6.5, -120 for my best bet. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, our special Saturday guest, Kevin Beach, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again on Sunday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.